Under the right ear, it's all you. Chapter 1, Return to Swaddling. Tang Zisu never imagined that after the car accident at the age of 40, the first image he saw when he opened his eyes would be the gauze tent on the crib, and the baby staring at him with round eyes. Fu Shizao. The man who fought with him all his life. From the pen battle in middle school to the confrontation on the board of directors of the company, the two have never been truly reconciled. Even if we occasionally work together, it's a trade-off of frustration, not trust. But now, this sworn enemy is still drinking milk from a baby bottle? Tang Zisu didn't say a word, snatched it up, and drank it tons and tons. Fu Shizao was taken aback, wrinkled his nose, and waved his little fat hand, as if to express his protest. This time it's my turn to start first. Tang Zisu licked her lips, burped, and sneered secretly. He remembered clearly that the Tang family would be plotted by his cousin 3 years later. His father died in a car accident, his mother had a nervous breakdown, and his brother died suddenly in the company's conference room. Today, it hasn't even begun. He wants to use this baby body to change the fate of the Tang family bit by bit, at the same time, train this Fu Shizao, who has not yet become a climate. Underscore 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 un. Oops, the little young master snatched Zao's quilt away again. Look, you see, Zhao Zhao doesn't cry, he still rubs beside him. The nannies burst into laughter, but no one knew that the seemingly innocent young master of the Tang family had already plotted thousands of routes in his mind. Chapter 2, Program Initiation. Tang Zisu quickly adapted to the life of a baby. Although his movements were restricted, he relied on his keen observation and extraordinary memory to find out the context and loopholes of the Tang family in just half a year. At the same time, he did not miss any opportunity to domesticate Fu Shizao. Sleep should be sticky, milk should be rushed to drink, and the quilt should be covered with 2 layers, one for yourself and one for Zhao Zhao. By the time the two of them could walk, Tang Zisu was already able to pat Fu Shizao's shoulder and say the first sentence in a milk voice. You're my little follower. Fu Shizao blinked and nodded stupidly. Tang Zisu was satisfied, this is just the beginning. Chapter 3, The Rising Storm. Time flies, and the two go to elementary school. Tang Zisu's right ear is still hearing insufficient, but it has been replaced with a high-specification hearing aid early on. He relied on his family background and IQ to become a popular figure in the school. And Fu Shizao, although he has a humble background, because he has been close to the Tang family since he was a child, he is also protected, and he is a good student in the eyes of all teachers. The two go to and from school together, and the seats are always in front of and behind the table. Fu Shizao has a little more snacks, and it will be into Tang Zisu's school bag in a blink of an eye. Zhao Zhao, did you buy sugar again? Hand it over. Still not talking? Do you want to be punished? Here you go. It's all up to you. Tang Zisu snorted coldly on the surface, but turned her head and smiled like a stealing cat. Chapter 4, The Hand of Destiny. When I was in junior high school, my cousin began to arrange chess pieces within the company. Tang Zisu is still at school, but she has quietly held a small tea party at home and won over the elderly on the board of directors. Fu Shizao is still his most reliable assistant, responsible for recording, organizing, and monitoring guest lists. He also learned to hack into the home security system and transmit his father's whereabouts to Tang Zisu. This person can't believe that he will take refuge in Uncle Six in the future. Fu Shizao said calmly, his tone was not like that of a 13-year-old boy. Tang Zisu looked at him with some surprise, and for the first time noticed that behind Fu Shizao's loyalty, there seemed to be an indescribable emotion. How do you know? Fu Shizao lowered his head, because I just want to help you. Chapter 5, The Secret of the Diary. The Tang family managed to dodge the first wave of attacks. His elder brother Tang Zihu also found an abnormal heart rhythm because of the medical examination arranged in advance, and his health was fine after the operation. My father also changed his vehicle itinerary to avoid fatal car accidents. Everything seems to be on track. Until Tang Zisu inadvertently turned to Fu Shizao's notebook when he was in college. It is densely written. When he was a child, he was so cute, and he was fragrant. He always robs me of candy, but never asks me if I want it. I just like the way he dictates to me. The Aquaman from my previous life came to him again, and I want to beat him again. If I could, I would like to be his right ear. Tang Zisu's fingers froze. Sudden stalling of the heartbeat. That sentence was like a bolt of lightning splitting his memory. It turns out that Fu Shizao, who was in his previous life, already knew that he was coming again? Even probably, already liked him for a long time? He always thought that he was a beast tamer who domesticated his prey, but he didn't expect that the other party had already opened the cage and waited for him to throw himself into the net. Chapter 6, Turning the tables. Fu Shizao pushed open the door and saw Tang Ziso sitting at the desk, her eyes a little red. You. Flipping through my diary? His tone was as calm as ever, but a twinkle flashed in his eyes. You already knew I was born again. Fu Shizao was silent. After a while, he nodded. Why don't you say it? I'm afraid you'll run. Tang Ziso burst out laughing, and then raised her eyes. You have been too obedient since you were a child, I didn't expect to calculate me. Fu Shizao approached and said in a low voice, I'm not calculating you. I just want you to know that I'm still there for you even if you do it all over again. You're my light, I want to be that part of your right ear and listen to the world for you. Tang Ziso didn't speak again. But that night, for the first time, he took the initiative to lean on Fu Shizao's shoulder and whispered. Then you can't leave me, or I won't hear me. Chapter 7, The Finale, It's All You. Years later, the Right Ear Group CO founded by Tang Ziso and Fu Shizao became a leader in the industry. They strategize together, sit on the board, and live together. The world only knows that the two are fairy partners in the Beijing circle, but they don't know that as early as the moment when a bottle of milk, 2 quilts and a child took the initiative to grab it next to the crib. Destiny has been rewritten. Tang Ziso once thought that he had won Fu Shizao for the rest of his life. But when he watched the other party tidy up his hearing aids for him, block gossip, and stand silently beside him, he finally understood. It turned out that he had never beaten the other party. Because from beginning to end, the man kept him in the deepest part of his heart. Under the right ear, it's all you. Extra Echo Project. Chapter 1, Their World is Quiet. The headquarters of the Right Ear Group is located in Lianjing Avenue, where every inch of land is precious in Beijing, and the appearance is pure white like a simple art museum. There are no ostentatious signs, no exaggerated lighting, but they are watched by the thunderous lights of the business room day and night. Tang Ziso sat in front of the floor-to-ceiling window on the top floor, the hearing aid in his ear was the same as before, and Fu Shizao adjusted the volume for him before he was willing to leave. Outside the window, the streets were noisy, but he felt as quiet as a dream. I've got the briefing on the meeting and put it on your desk. And also, remember this afternoon's hearing check. What you remember, it's never done. So are you. The two looked at each other, their eyes silent. These years of fighting side by side have long sharpened the past hostility into a blade to escort each other. But they didn't expect that the brand right ear would let another person hear it and quietly approach. Chapter 2, Letter from the Threshold. The letter was a coded letter that used the internal encryption format used in the early days of the Tang Group. At that time, this format was promoted by Tang's father, and only the core people in the family would know about it. The inscription was a name that Tang Ziso almost forgot, Yu Threshold, Yu Cheng. The strokes are complicated, and the identities are even more complex. He is a maternal side branch of the Tang family, the eldest son of the Yu family, and has been living overseas since he was a child. In his previous life, Tang Ziso had only heard this name in Fu Shizao's rival camp, Yu Jiahuo, and later became the manager of a company that benchmarked the right ear Shenzhen technology, with a treacherous and unfathomable style. But in that life, the two of them never confronted each other head-on. Yu disappeared strangely before the company was officially made public. Now, he has appeared in advance. The letter reads. Zisu, sound is the sharpest knife in the silent world. It's me that you can't hear in your right ear, and I'm back, and I won't miss you again this time. Yu Jiahui. After reading the letter, Fu Shizao's face was gloomy. You know who this person is, right? Tang Ziso sneered. In his previous life, he disappeared too quickly, and I couldn't deal with him. This life? Just about. Fu Shizao asked in a low voice, are you sure? Is he just a business obsession with you? Tang Ziso was silent. The tone of the letter was not quite right, like a love letter. Chapter 3, Infiltration and Temptation. A few weeks later, an international science and technology forum called Sound and Creation was held in Kyoto. Tang Ziso and Fu Shizao were the keynote speakers, and elites from all walks of life gathered at the scene. When the speakers of the third session of the forum appeared, the audience was silent for 3 seconds. Yu Threshold Hu. Dressed in a black and gold stand-up collar suit, his hair is silver and slightly curly, and his eyes are cold grey, like silver stars that are not lit up at night. The language is concise and the tone is gentle, but every word knocks on Tang Ziso's heart. We have developed a new generation of voice-activated neural feedback devices that simulate cochlear nerve signals, enabling deaf people to hear sounds they have not received before. We call it the Echo Plan. The audience was amazed. Tang Ziso only heard the metaphor in the sentence, let you hear me. Fu Shizao warned that night, he's not here to talk about technology, he's here to take you away. Tang Ziso rubbed her temples, take me? You're exaggerating too much. Do you remember what you said? If you want to change everything, that includes me. But you haven't changed a thing. What? He was, and he liked you. Chapter 4, Binaural. The Echo plan has entered the production stage, and the international market is rushing. The Right Ear Group is facing unprecedented external pressure and public opinion storm. You even openly claimed that the name of the Echo was inspired by a beautiful boy who lacked a voice since childhood. Tang Zhiso was so angry that he smashed the pen. Is he a trademark when I am ears? Fu Shizao stood up quietly, walked up to him, and pressed his shoulder. Zhiso, let me take the lead against him this time. You've been carrying our fate on your back for too long. This time, let me be your left ear. Tang Ji was stunned, and the corners of her eyes were pantothenic. In the previous life, Fu Shizao was too used to being his shadow, and this time, he didn't want to make the other party so silent anymore. Chapter 5, The War of Silence. Yu Luo personally came to the headquarters of the Right Ear Group and coldly handed over the cooperation proposal at the high-level meeting. The condition is, Tang Ji is retrospectively the CEO of the main voice derivation. The conference room fell silent. Fu Shizao's eyes were full of murder, and his voice was lowered. What are you when we are? Signboard. Yu Luong smiled. No, I just want to keep the voice I like by my side. Tang Zhiso frowned. What you want from beginning to end is not technology, nor cooperation, but me. Yes. And I said a long time ago that I won't miss you again this time. This confrontation was not immediately decided, but that night, Tang Zhiso dreamed of her previous life at the funeral, and heard the voice, if you are still alive, I would like to be your echo. He woke up suddenly, and broke out in a cold sweat. Fu Shizao immediately took him into his arms. What are you afraid of? I'm afraid. I can't really tell who's lying. Then trust me. Okay. Chapter 6, Hearing the Heart. The final confrontation takes place at a charity dinner. Yu Zhui publicly displayed the echo chip and invited Tang Zhiso to be the experimenter, saying that it could temporarily regain full hearing. Tang Zhiso stood on the stage, accepted the device, and the world shook in his ears. At that moment, he heard thousands of voices, staggering, whispering exclamations, and if you choose him, I'll let it go. Fu Shizao's voice. He turned, stepping down the stage and towards the man who had always stood to his left. My right ear is disobedient, but my left ear will hear you. We don't need to simulate any sound. Yu Zhihuo didn't chase after him, but only said from afar. This time, it didn't keep you either. Chapter 7, The Echo Doesn't Fade. Right Ear has launched a new hearing aid device equipped with AI synchronous analysis of emotional fluctuations, named Echo Left. When Tang Zhiso and Fu Shizao were interviewed by Central Media, the host asked, what do your brand names Right Ear and Echo Left mean? Tang Zhiso replied with a smile. The right ear is a flaw that fate has given me, and Echo Left is a supplement that he has given me. Fu Shizao held his hand, because, no matter how noisy the world is, I can hear his heartbeat. Sound doesn't have to be heard by ear. Love, too. The biography of Yu Threshold. Prologue, voices that shouldn't be heard. On a winter night without snow, Yu Zhihui really heard Tang Zhiso's voice for the first time. Not the voice, not the image, but the fluctuation of his heart. That night, Tang Zhiso publicly rejected Yu Lui's joint proposal at the Global Technology Conference, and the audience was flooded. But he sat quietly in the corner and whispered. You chose him anyway. No one heard this except himself. But in this side world, he decides to reverse. No longer approach with love, but rap with obsession and persecute with calculation. He wants, this time Tang Zhiso stays. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 1, Lockdown and Confession. When Tang Zhiso woke up, she found herself lying in a pure white room. Not a ward, not a detention room, but some kind of high-class sanatorium, no sunlight outside the window, but no night either. The hearing aid in the ear has been replaced with Echo Prime, an exclusive implantable device developed by Yu Lui. How can you touch me? He asked in a hoarse voice. Yu Zhihuo stood aside, carefully wiping the chip shell like an antique, his tone calm to the point of almost terrifying. You said you wanted to hear everything. I did it for you. You're monitoring. It's protection. He corrected lightly, there is something wrong with your body and you need to recuperate. The outside world has nothing to do with you for the time being. Tang Zhiso raised his head and stared at him, and said coldly, Fu Shizao will find me. He did find it. Yu Luo lowered his head, his eyes were rare and gentle, but you didn't respond to his call. Because of the sound of your heart beating faster, it only beat once for me. Tang Zhiso was stunned. At that moment, he wondered if he really loved Yu Zhui. underscore 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 un. Chapter 2, Heart Sound Synchronization. View has established an unprecedented technical system, HeartSync, which can connect the physiological signals of both parties such as emotions, heartbeat, and eardrum vibration in real time. In this system, even if Tang Ziso doesn't speak or move, Yujui can hear his inner reaction. This made Tang Ziso furious and frightened. Because in some clips, he did waver. You should have known that this is a two-way collapse. Yu Luong whispered in his ear, you want to save me, and I want to possess you. You say this, how can we distinguish right from wrong? And how long are you going to keep me in prison? Yu was silent, just kissed his right ear. Until you don't want to hear anyone else's voice again. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 3, Records of the Embankment. During a system maintenance failure, Tang Zisu entered Yujui's private frequency folder, which contained a recording. I know I'm not qualified to ask him to love me. But from the first time I heard him call my name when I was 13, there was a voice in my world. I want to be his ears and let him hear tenderness that shouldn't be there. Yujui, 17 years old, recording notes. At that moment, Tang Ziso suddenly couldn't breathe. This man was never a cold-blooded madman, but a prisoner of over-depression and loneliness. And he himself has inadvertently become the only voice that this world gives to Yujuhuo. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 4, The Resonance Room. Yujuhuo took him to the most secret experimental cabin of the Shenzhen group, the Resonance Room. Do you know why I can make a sound into a weapon, and I can also make it into a medicine? Tang Zisu shook her head. Yu Luong looked up at him, because I had no voice in my childhood. My mother had a postpartum aphasia and my father never said love. The entire Yu family is a silent cemetery. You're my only coordinator. Tang Zishu was shocked from the bottom of her heart. Yu Yuhuo suddenly stretched out his hand, his eyes were no longer wild, but asked in a trance. If it's all not a game of power, but I'm begging you, don't go any further, is that enough? Tang Zisu finally closed his eyes and whispered. Stay, this is my last tenderness. Underscore 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 un. Epilogue, Beyond the Right Ear. Tang Zisu did not escape. Fu Shizao searched all over the world, but he couldn't find the resonance room. 5 years later, Right Ear and Soundyan publicly released a silent sound recorder called Mute. Silent, but able to store mood swings. At the press conference, Yu Lui and Tang Zisu attended side by side, like the most rational and crazy lovers in the world. They were asked how the relationship would be defined. Tang Zisu smiled. He took away my right to hear the world, but gave me the possibility to hear love. Yu added lightly. He is my right ear, I am his silence.